සුපිරි අධිවේගයක් පරදා ඔබ මවිත කරවන වේගයක් විඳ ගන්න. පියවර 3කින් ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටෙලිකොම් ෆයිබර් ඔප්ටික් ජාලයට එක්වන්න. slp.lk වෙත පිවිසෙන්න.
Making headlines on First at 9. Unauthorized structure or not? Ministers assure in Parliament that Gore Stadium will not be demolished. Government to give its definitive decision in 2 weeks. Constitution making. Minister of National Integration and Reconciliation says the future of a new constitution is bleak.
We assured people that we would bring a new constitution.
Making a milestone. Sri Lanka's first ever 24/7 news channel celebrates 4th year anniversary. Confusion over Trump's Russian relations. US President extends invitation to Russian President to visit US. In sports, cricket suspension. Leg spinner Jeffrey Van der Sar handed 1-year suspension sentence by SLC.
Other Derana, First at 9. Sponsored by
Nestamol Plus, now with the goodness of oats.
From Nestle.
A very good evening to you and welcome to First at 9. I'm Katharina Chan. Now, today is an important day for all of us here at Other Derana 24/7, as it has been 4 years since Sri Lanka's only news channel hit the airwaves, striving to cater to the thirst Sri Lankans had towards real and credible news. Here's a look back at our 4 years.
delivering unrivaled live coverage with news you can trust. This is Other Derana 24/7, Sri Lanka's news channel.
A long-felt need for a new space TV channel was fulfilled with the advent of Other Derana 24/7, Sri Lanka's first and only 24-hour television news channel, which was launched in 2014. Up to date, there has never been a credible competitor that has been successful enough to provide timely and accurate information to the masses than Other Derana 24/7.
Ayubowan, Vanakkam, good morning.
The channel features 10 hourly bulletins, 3 main bulletins, documentaries and many other exciting programs.
When the clock strikes 9, to deliver the day's news.
Catering to the English audience in the country and around the world, Other Derana 24/7 began broadcasting its first ever English news bulletin, First at 9, in 2017, which turned out to be one of the most viewed English news bulletins in the country. Soon, the channel will be striving towards introducing English programming to cater to the international market that is growing as Sri Lanka continues to become a financial hub in the region. With humble beginnings, we are proud to say that we succeeded in winning the hearts and the trust of the public through impartial news broadcasting and conveying the country's issues to relevant authorities that was of utmost importance. Other Derana 24/7 is broadcast on Channel 14, both on Dialogue and Pure TV.
Other Derana 24/7.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that through the introduction of the new Education Standards Act, stringent measures will be taken to ensure untrained teachers will not be employed in the education sector. The Premier expressed these views at an event held in Temple Trees today.
The event to hand over appointment letters to graduate teachers was held under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
We will present an Education Standards Act to the Ministry of National Policies and the Ministry of Education. Under this act, appointment and training of new teachers will be monitored. We will also ban employment of untrained teachers. Through this act, we will certify 13 years of mandatory education. I usually criticize the media, but I must admit that they have given their fullest support in this endeavour.
Minister of National Integration, Reconciliation and Official Languages, MANO says that he has lost faith in the constitutional making process led by the government, adding that it is highly unlikely the new constitution will become a reality. He expressed these views at an event held in Colombo last evening.
We, as the government of Sri Lanka, decided, we campaigned, we promised, we assured people that we would bring a new constitution which would address the ethnic, religious, linguistic issues of this country. But I think we have now passed 3 years, I should say, and we have a long way to go. And on a daily basis, in every other time when we meet in Parliament, as part of the Constitutional Council, Steering Committee, the atmosphere within the Steering Committee becomes very tense and very rigid. It is 12 months before, I should say, I thought we will achieve our goal of coming up with a new constitution. But it looks very bleak today.
The minister added that religions in the country have become politicized.
Religions, which are supposed to be instruments, campaigns for uniting people, are today dividing people based on religions and ethnicity. That is what is happening in Sri Lanka. So, we will have to call upon religious leaders, look within themselves and go for reforms. All the religions, I should say. Unless and until the religious leaders look within themselves and revisit, rethink, reconsider the stated positions, we have no future. We have been engaging with each other with bombs, guns, pistols, knives, swords. What went wrong is that we kept all our discussion only at the top level, also sometimes very brokered by international mediators. But every day we failed to take the message to the bottom, the ground level.
Meanwhile, parliamentarians representing the opposition accused the government of attempting to include an amended clause to the new constitutional draft, which will limit eligibility of parliamentarians who wish to contest in the upcoming presidential election. The joint opposition added that this clause will only allow parliamentarians who have withdrawn from dual citizenship status at least 2 years prior to the application for presidential nominations.
We can win half the battle once the General Secretary of the party is removed from this position. We will be able to secure the remaining battle once the Central Committee of the party makes a decision to leave the unity government. We are of the view that this decision must definitely be taken in the next Central Committee meeting. Day before yesterday, the UNP plotted for a constitutional amendment against the President through the Constitutional Assembly. They had also tried to include a clause which says a parliamentarian who holds a dual citizenship status a year prior to the nomination application will not be eligible to apply. Why are they doing this? It is to stop future nominees to submit their applications. They are even trying to weaken the president so the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe can hold power. Although the Prime Minister has no knowledge to get enough votes, he got the brains to conduct such shrewd plots.
Meanwhile, parliamentarian Mahinda Nandalutgamage too expressed views regarding constitutional amendments.
When a constitutional amendment was to be presented to the parliament recently, the steering committee members said that they cannot support it because the draft was made by TNA parliamentarian M.A. Sumanthiran. They accused that the draft was presented with fake signatures. This particular draft says that the Prime Minister, Speaker and the opposition leader can remove the President from his post. What an interesting constitutional amendment that is. The draft also says that only those who have withdrawn from their dual citizenship status 2 years prior can apply for the presidential nomination. This amendment is broad because they are scared of former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
The Organised Crimes Prevention Division has informed the Colombo Magistrates Court that further investigations will be carried out regarding the statement of former State Minister Vijay Kalamaheshwaran regarding the LTTE. The Commission added that statements of 40 individuals, including senior state officials and ministers, have been obtained in connection to the controversial remarks. Meanwhile, the Terrorist Investigation Division today summoned Associate Editor of Rivira Sunday newspaper, Tissa Ravindra Pereira, to give a statement on an article written on LTTE leaders who have been arrested with a stash of weapons in Urdu Sudan.
The Organised Crimes Prevention Division today informed the Colombo Magistrates Court that further investigations will be carried out on the controversial statement made by the former State Minister Vijay Kalamaheshwaran regarding revival of the LTTE during a function held in Jaffna on the 2nd of July. The division said this when the case investigating the statement of the former minister was taken up before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Rangadasa Nayaka today. The officials of the Organised Crimes Prevention Division also informed courts that they have asked for permission from the Speaker of the Parliament to note down statements from the ministers and parliamentarians who participated at the event, where the former State Minister made the controversial statement. They further stated that the Minister of Home Affairs who participated at the event voluntarily provided his statement and have also recorded statements from 40 individuals, including journalists and senior government officials who participated in the event. Colombo Chief Magistrate Ranga Dasanayake ordered that the case be taken up once again on the 10th of next month. In the meantime, the associate editor of Rivera Sunday newspaper, Tissa Ravindra Pereira, was summoned by the Terrorist Investigation Division to record a statement today over ongoing investigation of a news article. He was thus summoned based on a news article which allegedly claims the emergence of activities of the LTTE published on the 24th of June. The article is in relation to the LTTE members who were arrested with explosives, including claymore bombs in Odu, Sudan on 22nd of June.
එම සිද්ධියේදී LTTE එකේ නායකයන් අත්අඩංගු ගැනීම සිදුවීමත් සම්බන්ධව දැනට ක්‍රියාත්මක වන බුද්ධි නායකයන් ගැන තොරතුරු මම සඳහන් කරලා තිබුණා. ඒ වගේ නම් පැටලීම සම්බන්ධ විතරයි ඒ ඇරෙන්න මට තේරුණා. මේ වගේ ගෙනල්ලා තස්ත්ව විමර්ශන කොට්ටාශයට ගෙනල්ලා මාධ්‍යවේදීන් කලකිරීමට පත් කරවන්න හදන වෑයමක් කියලා එක තමයි තේරුණේ. ඉහළ නිලධාරීන්ගේ ඕමනාවට තමයි මේක සිදුවෙන්නේ කියලාත් මට විමර්ශනයේ තේරුණා.
In the meantime, State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena too expressed views about the issue in the north.
මතවාදයක් හදනවා විපක්ෂයෙන් අපේ උතුරේ කඳරුව ගලවනවා හමුදාව අඩු කරනවා අපි හමුදාව අඩු කරන්නෙත් නැහැ කඳුරු ඉවත් කරන්නෙත් නැහැ.
UPFA parliamentarian Kanchana Wijesekara says Minister Akila Viraj Kariyawasam is being groomed to take up the position of leader of the United National Party. He expressed these views at a media briefing organised by the joint opposition today.
We saw how Minister Akila Viraj Kariyawasam tried to level criticism in relation to the New York Times article in Parliament yesterday. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has chosen him as the future leader of the UNP. Minister Kariyawasam has been trained by the Prime Minister. He has been appointed as the Education Minister as well as the General Secretary of the party. He will be surpassing every other prominent political figure in the party. Minister Akila Viraj Kariyawasam is the one who is responsible for the future of our children. Today, the nearest school isn't the best school. Instead, it has become the place to sell the best drugs in town. Everyone knows that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa is not in the country at the moment. Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa is abroad as well. If they were here, they would have given their response to the questions that were raised. The former president has already responded to these allegations through a special statement.
The issue of the alleged threat posed to the Galle International Cricket Stadium of being removed from Galle Fort was a topic of debate in different arenas today as well. Former Sri Lankan cricket captain Mahela Jayawardena, who were among those who voiced their concerns over the issue, requested the government to reconsider the decision of relocating the stadium.
Recently, reports emerged that UNESCO informed the Sri Lankan government that the buildings constructed in the Galle International Cricket Stadium, including the main stadium, have threatened conservation work of the Galle Fort area and therefore it is in danger of being removed from the UNESCO World Heritage List. Although the latest report of the UNESCO Heritage Committee does not mention a decision to remove the Galle International Cricket Stadium, Minister of Home Affairs Vajra Abewardena emphasized that the stadium will be removed from the present location since it is an illegal construction. When contacted, the Director General of the Department of Archaeology, Professor P.B. Mandavala, had this to say.
ලෝකුරුම මධ්‍යස්ථානයෙන් දැනුම් දෙනවා මේ දේවල් හින්දා මේකේ තිබෙන සුවිශේෂී තත්ත්වයට බලපෑම් ඇති වෙලා තිබෙනවා ඒවා නිවැරදි කරගන්නයි කියලා රටට දැනුම් දෙනවා යම් හේකින් ඒ රට ඒ නිවැරදි කර ගැනීමට කරේ නැත්නම් ලෝකුරුම කමිටුවට පුළුවන් එම ලෝකුරුමයන් ලැයිස්තුවෙන් ඉවත් කරන්න. එතකොට දැනට මේ වෙනකොට අවදානම් ලැයිස්තුවේ තිබෙනවා දැනට 54ක්. වාසනාවට ලංකාවේ තවම එකක්වත් අවදානම් ලැයිස්තුවට ගිහිල්ලා නැහැ.
In such a backdrop, former captain of the Sri Lankan cricket team Mahela Jayawardena tweeted his concerns over the removal of the stadium. In his tweet, he expressed his concern over the decision and says it has a unique place in international test cricket history for its location and also one of the most successful venues for the national team. He requested authorities and Sri Lankan government to reconsider the decision. Meanwhile, protesters put up banners at several places in the ground stating that the stadium will be removed from its current position. In the meantime, several views were expressed on this issue today.
මම හිටපු ක්‍රීඩාමතිවරයෙක් විදිහට වැඩ කරන කාලෙත් වජිරාපේදුරු මැතිතුමා මේ යෝජනාව කරපුවා මම කිව්වා ඉස්සෙල්ලා ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාංගණයක් හදලා ඉවර වෙලා ගාල්ල ක්‍රීඩාංගණය යම් ඉවත් කිරීමක් කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් අපි ඒ කටයුතු ටික කරමු කියලා. නමුත් කෙසේ හෝ මේ ක්‍රියාදාමයේ නතර කිරීම සඳහා උසාවියන්න හරි මම සූදානම් කියන එකත් මේ අවස්ථාවේ මම ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
With Sri Lanka under threat of losing an iconic cricket stadium due to its alleged unauthorized constructions, posing possible impact on the status of Golf Fort in the UNESCO World Heritage List, created a whirlwind of comments in Parliament today.
In 2006, an unauthorized construction was put up in the form of the Mahinda Rajapaksa Pavilion. The UNESCO has informed us to remove this unauthorized construction. We as a country and as a government should decide whether to retain this as a World Heritage Site by removing the Mahinda Rajapaksa Pavilion or lose World Heritage status by maintaining the pavilion. This was not constructed by Mahinda Rajapaksa but by another group. I was listening to Captain Kul Arjuna Ranatunga's interview. We are of the same view that were expressed by him. Today, any pavilion can be erected or dismantled within 48 hours. I'm of the view that with the help of modern technology, the stadium should be constructed as soon as possible. We as a ministerial committee appointed a group of officials to complete a report within 2 weeks, and we will take a decision on behalf of the government and will inform it to the Parliament. Unfortunately, the Galle Cricket Stadium has been converted into a political platform. As the Minister of Sports, I would like to say that a positive decision will be taken following discussions with Ministers Vijayadasa Rajapaksa and Sagala Ratnayaka. There is no such plan to remove the Galle Stadium, built in the middle of the city of Galle.
Senior Northern Irish MP Ian Paisley Jr. has been suspended from the House of Commons for 7 weeks after breaking Westminster rules over luxury trips worth up to £100,000. The severe punishment has been imposed on the Senior Democratic Unionist Party MP after he took his family on an all-expenses-paid holidays to Sri Lanka in 2013. Paisley failed to register the trips before writing to the then Prime Minister of UK, David Cameron, in support of the Sri Lankan government about a proposed United Nations resolution. This incident also caught the attention of parliamentarians in Sri Lanka during the parliamentary debate today.
Ian Paisley Jr., an MP for the Democratic Unionist Party, has been suspended for 30 days after he failed to declare €100,000 in hospitality from the Sri Lankan government, which included business-class air travel, accommodation at first-class hotels, helicopter trips and visits to tourist attractions for Paisley and his wider family. The Common Standards Committee has said, quote, "In view of the seriousness of this matter, we recommend that Paisley be suspended from the service of the House for a period of 30 sitting days starting on 4th September 2018, unquote. A report included that his actions amounted to paid advocacy and bring the House of Commons into disrepute. The 30-day suspension, if confirmed by a common vote, is thought to be the longest period any MP has been barred from the Commons for 15 years. Meanwhile, views were expressed in Parliament on the matter today.
During the Mahinda Rajapaksa government, almost 20 million rupees had been spent on British parliamentarian Ian Paisley. There is a risk of him losing his membership in Parliament if a petition is signed against him. We were under the impression that only local parliamentarians were bribed, but even English parliamentarians seem to have been bribed by the previous government. You can file a complaint regarding this to the Commission to investigate bribery or corruption, and then they'd be able to conduct an investigation. Yes, I will definitely file a complaint about this. Chris Nonis was the British High Commissioner to Sri Lanka at the time. He should be able to testify. And GL Pires, who has been the Foreign Affairs Minister, must also be called for a statement. This is the harshest punishment given to a parliamentarian in UK for 15 years. He has taken £100,000. Did you ask from the Auditor General as to what had happened here?
I think that some of the MPs who made their comments based on print media reports today, especially in Sinhala newspapers, that report is an irresponsible report made by the local media organization. There is no any complaint against the Honourable Member Ian Parsley with regard to his stance taken up in the whole proceedings, but there is an allegation that with regard to his credibility. When he came to visit Sri Lanka several occasions, some money had been spent by the Sri Lankan side. According to the rule of conduct, it is a duty of that particular MP to inform the relevant authorities that he had visited and the funds had been spent not from his personal account, from a third party. The allegation is that violation of that rule. It doesn't mean that the British government had made any complaint against our country. When the media reports this kind of accurate news, the entire country is misled. Honourable members of this parliament had been misled. There were some unwarranted critics and comments which might lead to some misunderstanding in the relationship in between our country and United Kingdom.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Managing Director of Sampath Bank, Nanda Fernando, revealed that the bank has been included to the Morgan Stanley Capital International Frontier Market 100 Index. Speaking at an investor forum held in London recently, he highlighted that Sampath Bank is the only Sri Lankan company listed on the index.
Sampath Bank hosted the Sri Lankan expatriate community and businessmen working in the United Kingdom at an exclusive investor forum held in London recently. The forum was hosted to promote financial solutions from Sampath Bank, which include foreign currency accounts, foreign currency and Sri Lankan rupee investment accounts, fixed deposits and housing loans. Sampath Bank had registered post-tax profits of 3.3 billion rupees for the quarter ended 31st March 2018, a record 41.4% growth over the same period in 2017. Net interest income, which represents over 70% of the bank's total operating income, stood at 8.3 billion rupees, growing by 30% year-on-year, while total asset base stood at 846 billion rupees at the end of the quarter, a year-on-year growth of 6.5%.
So today the Sri Lankan banking sector has 32 banks, out of which 25 are customers, and our committed staff. We have been growing very fast markets. That is, when an investor if he decides to invest in the frontier markets, they look at this index. And till recently, John Keells were in this index, the only company in Sri Lanka. And currently, Sampath is the only company in Sri Lanka. So we are very proud and happy to note this achievement. It came to us about 2 weeks ago. So we went in at the right time to take about the first 50 products of banking in Sri Lanka. I'm sure we would have been the first to put about 45 of them.
Shares rose today to their highest close in 3 weeks and marked their second weekly gain in 9. The All-Share Price Index ended 0.13% firmer at 6,191.17, while the market turnover was 207.1 million rupees in this session, which is the lowest since July 10th. We now have Stefan de Alvis from NDB Securities for a report on how the market performed during the week.
During the week, the ASPI gained 0.9%. whilst the S&P SL20 made a strong recovery of 2%. This was mainly due to price gains in counters such as John Keells Holdings, Hatton National Bank and Sampath Bank. The average daily turnover for the week was up from last week to 429 million rupees. Diversified sector recorded the highest sector turnover during the week. Foreigners remained active, closing as net sellers for the week, where foreign sales accounted for 47% of the total weekly turnover. A net foreign outflow of nearly 105 million rupees was recorded for the week.
Amid the uproar that was caused following the Helsinki summit between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, the White House yesterday announced that the US President has extended an invitation to his Russian counterpart to visit the US later this year. The latest development caused Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats to burst into laughter as the news caught him off guard during a live interview. White House yesterday announced that US President Donald Trump has planned to invite the Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to Washington this autumn. The news comes 4 days after a summit that led to an uproar in the United States over Trump's failure to publicly confront Putin for Moscow's meddling in the 2016 US election. Director of US National Intelligence Dan Coats was on stage at a security forum in Colorado when he was told by NBC's Andrea Michel that the White House had announced on Twitter about President Trump's invitation to Putin.
The House has announced on Twitter that Vladimir Putin is coming to the White House in the fall.
Say that again?
Vladimir Putin coming
Did I
to
hear
the...
you? Did I hear you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be special.
Coats also went on to say that he does not know what happened in the one-on-one meeting in Helsinki between Trump and Putin that has raised concerns among many US lawmakers.
Well, you're right. I don't know what happened in that meeting. I think as time goes by, and the President has already mentioned some things that happened in that meeting, I think we will learn more. But that is the President's prerogative. He had asked me how that ought to be conducted. I would have suggested a different way. But that's not my role. But it's undeniable that the Russians are taking the lead on this. They are the ones that are trying to wreak havoc over our election process. We need to call them out on that.
A South Korean court sentenced former President Park Geun-hye to 8 more years in prison today. The ruling was made after finding Park Geun-hye guilty on charges of causing loss of government funds and interfering in the 2016 parliamentary election. The Seoul Central District Court ruled that Park, who has already received a 24-year jail term over separate corruption charges, colluded with her former aides to cause the loss of government funds worth about $26.49 million from the National Intelligence Service. She was also found guilty of interfering in the ruling party's selection of candidates for the parliamentary election. 66-year-old Park has denied wrongdoing and was not present in court. Let's now cross over to a short commercial break.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
Sri Lanka leg spinner Jeffrey van der Sar has been handed 1-year suspension from all forms of international cricket and fined 20% of his annual contract fee after admitting a misconduct charge. Van der Sar's tour of the West Indies was cut short on June 23rd before the third and final test when he was sent home due to a disciplinary breach. Sri Lanka cricket announced the suspension today after Van der Sar admitted to allegations.
A very good evening to our viewers and welcome to Focus First. Starting off with your temperatures for tomorrow, they are to vary between 20 and 35 degrees Celsius with the highest of 35 expected along the coastal line from Mullaitivu to Hambantota. Well, when looking at the map, a low pressure zone will develop in the western province and will gradually disappear. Well, the very north of the country, including Jaffna, Mana and Baunia, will experience continuous sunshine. The districts of Kandy, Colombo, Galle and Matara as well as Hambantota will, however, experience showers. That's all from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
And that's all we have from the news desk tonight. Thank you for being with us and have a pleasant evening.